Excuse me if I seem a little peeved this video. I'm also sorry that this is not a scripted video game related video. I have a video scripted and ready to go. I haven't gotten to it because I felt like I needed to speak on this specific topic. This specific topic as it just came up. Also, whenever I close my eyes now, like I see like a whole bunch of like ring lights in my vision, so that's good. That's great. Before I get to like the meat of what I'm about to talk about, something that I want to talk about it's innovation and longevity. I feel like innovation and longevity can go together hand in hand really well, especially when it comes to things like technology. There's a reason why we haven't really evolved like the Word doc so much. It's still just like a piece of paper with like fonts you can choose. Now, how well you can insert an image or like do tables or whatever, that's a whole different thing. But that hasn't really changed, right? That has stayed the same forever. I am a creative. I work in the creative field. One of the things that I unfortunately have to use because it is industry standard is Adobe and Adobe related products. Not a big fan of that. I've also not like with the stuff that I do for my job, but like the stuff I do for this channel, I have started using alternatives. Affinity being a huge alternative, a huge game changer, which is owned by Canva. For video editing and stuff like that, I use DaVinci Resolve, which is made by Blackmagic. They rely on a buy once, cry once subscription model. You buy something for like kind of a really high amount of money once, or if you're like me, you do PayPal Pay in 4, and then you own it forever. And whatever update comes out, it is forever yours. They will not hopefully not switch over to a subscription model because that would be insane. It also helps that Blackmagic also sells like electric peripheral electronics. Either way, they're making money. They're not just like charging people monthly for nothing. When I think about innovation and longevity, there are very few Adobe products that kind of fall into this. One program that does not fall into this is InDesign. InDesign is trash. Adobe, I've already tweeted you back then when it was Twitter. We'll get to that at the end of the video. That's not the point of this video, although I'm still very mad about that. InDesign doesn't do it for me. I think Illustrator could be better. The only reason Illustrator serves me well is because I use third-party plugins by very dedicated and very talented people who want to see these programs be so much better, but they're not doing what people are asking them to do, so they're just like, well, we'll just do it ourselves, and then people will pay us for a product that Adobe could easily have just done themselves. One product that I think exemplifies longevity and innovation is Adobe Animate. Adobe Animate is an industry standard program that animators use in their, you guessed it, animations. There's a picture floating around on Blue Sky highlighting Smiling Friends, which has been one of the more recent successful animations to have come out on Cartoon Network / Adult Swim. They use Adobe Animate. It's 2026. There's really nothing that you can do to make Adobe Animate better. Well, okay, that's a lie. There's some things you could do to make Adobe Animate better, but it's for the purpose that it serves. It is a good tool, and when you make something that you don't need to innovate any longer, you made a perfect product. Congratulations. You made something. You made something that people would pay thousands of dollars a year to have in their own company, just to have that one product, just one. That's a win for me. Like, that's easy money, right? You're already like, you abandoned the buy once, cry once model, and you have now you're doing the subscription based model, and people are just paying you an absurd amount of money to just have that one program, just that one. And like, they'll use your other ones if they have to. But the main thing is that they're just paying for one. They're paying for one little program. And they're paying a lot of money for it every year. Every year they pay a lot of money. So recently I shouldn't say recently, yesterday. Today is February, where's my phone? Today's February 3rd. Yesterday, February 2nd, I received an email, as did all the other Adobe creatives did, stating that they are no longer going to support Adobe Animate, that everyone has until next year to download all their files in all these various file formats, and that next year they are going to stop support completely. I don't know how true it is, but supposedly the year after, they're not even going to allow people to download it. So that's something that's a really cool thing to that's a really cool thing to send people who for decades have used your product and have not switched to any other product, that are a buy once cry once model, that are not subscription based, because they like using your product so much, because it is industry standard. It's what people were using. It's what everyone was using. And you're going to rip it away from people in a year. And in 2 years, people won't even be able to use it. This just feels like so absurd. It feels so absurd. It's one thing to take away a product, right? It's one thing to take away a product and then, say, hey, but you know what? We're coming out with something better, something new. It's sexy, it's sleek. We're gonna give you something to chew on. No, that's not what they're doing. In fact, when people reach out to the good folks at Adobe, they say that you can use After Effects. That's not the same. I work in After Effects all the time because it's it's the one that I learned first, and for the work that I do specifically, it just works better. I don't need to do any character rigging for anything. I don't need to do any animation per se. For those of you who don't know, After Effects, in terms of animation, sucks. It sucks. It sucks donkey balls. It doesn't offer the same capabilities and the same breadth of options that Adobe Animate does. Even when there are plugins, again, using third-party plugins for things that probably should already have been in the program, but they are, for whatever reason, deciding, you know what, guys? Bite me. These third-party plugins, and bless the people who make them again, because they are single-handedly, I feel like, holding up a whole industry. They're just holding them on their little shoulders. Even with these plugins, After Effects, because of the way that it's set up to be used and all this stuff, instead of setting it up to be kind of like this catch-all, like a lot of other programs are, they have set it up to be kind of a pain in the ass to work with. Kind of sucks. As much as I like working in After Effects and doing my job, it's kind of a pain to do anything in because of the way that it was, programmed to do things. It's this whole situation is so frustrating. I have had beef with Adobe for, I have to say, at least a little more than a decade at this point. I've had so many issues with them for their programs and the way that they, talk to their customers, people who pay lots of money for what. Sorry about that, my battery died. Maybe this is ultimately a good thing because people will move over to programs that are much better and much better suited for what they're trying to do. But it kind of sucks to just you're uprooting a whole community. You're destroying a whole community because why? Because there's nobody actually has an answer for this. There's speculations. I saw this post on Blue Sky where somebody said that they actually did get in touch with the customer service people, and they essentially said, hey, they're getting rid of this program because it has become stale. What do you mean it has become stale? You make something that hardly needed improvement. You struck gold. You kept going in the mine and you got the diamonds. What do you mean it has become stale? What more do you want this to be? I'm sure there's people seasoned veterans of the industry that they have ideas for you that you have chosen to ignore. You made something that didn't need an insane amount of changes like your other programs do, because your other programs need some serious help, my dude. Why? The speculation that I saw, that I see coming, kind of just swirling around, is that they did not think of a really good way to somehow integrate AI, which makes sense. Everything else that they have right now, all the other crap that exists within the Adobe sphere has some sort of AI programming in there. And let me tell you, it sucks. It's terrible. I just feel like with the whole AI thing that's going on and like how these people are trying to find ways to insert this thing that we don't want into our lives, I feel like we're getting punished for saying no. I feel like we're genuinely getting punished for not wanting to engage in something that was created and platformed on bad faith. Your whole business model relies on the creativity of people. Creativity that has been stolen and scraped and just like ripped into shreds, but by people who went through and like, you know, made an algorithm to steal from other creatives. And you're expecting these same creatives to use AI, the very thing that you know, that stole from them, the very thing that is threatening their livelihoods. It's just like, this is like one of the most boneheaded business things I have ever seen in my life. Like if people were already leaving Adobe, like they were already trying to find alternatives. I sure did. I mean, I only use it for work, but I don't use it like in my life, like to make these videos. I don't use Adobe anything, or at least I haven't for a while. And it blows my mind that oh my god, it blows my mind. And people can just like ignore and close their eyes to what to what their audience wants. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. I know this is not related to video games, but I feel like with also the rise in certain jerks in the industry saying that generative AI is okay, I think that these types of conversations need to start and never stop until it ultimately all stops. We can't fall into this pattern of like being okay with things because it's there. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's okay. Anyway, like and subscribe. I'm sorry. Also, very much not. Also, as you see some credits roll, maybe, because I may have used some assets from certain people, specifically the made with human hands graphic that was made by a human, on the internet, a very kind soul that gave away that graphic for free to people to use. I'll tell you about my Adobe story. One time I tweeted at them, again, this is before Twitter became X. So one time I tweeted at them airing my grievances about Adobe InDesign specifically. At that time, Adobe InDesign was glitching pretty hard. It's still not like a good program to use. It's terrible. But it was being awful, and I decided to air my grievances, and I even tagged them because I don't know, I was feeling petty that day. Then within the next 24 hours, my tweet was deleted. It wasn't in my profile. It wasn't anywhere. It was deleted. It was removed from Twitter. And the day after that happened, customer support reached out to me to see what I was talking about. Why couldn't you talk to me there, big dog? The tweet was right there. You could have reached out to me there. Instead, you did like the cowardly thing, deleted my little frustration blurb, and then decided to under the table talk to me. No. Anyway, I didn't respond back because obviously, realistically, this person could not do anything about my issues with InDesign because those issues lie in whoever is making the decisions with that stuff. It's not with customer support. That's not who I have beef with. I have beef with Adobe in general, and how it's being run. Anyway, I'm also not the only person to have experienced that. I told that story actually on Blue Sky. Follow me on Blue Sky if you want. And that the person commented under saying, "Hey, you're the only one I've heard this story. Like I heard many people have this same exact story happen to them." So anyway,